simple coding. Okay, so after lambda expressions, we'll be learning the built-in delegates like func, action, and predicate delegates. And then actually we'll be learning the applications of delegates, like delegate is helpful in callback mechanism, and delegate is used in case of events. So these two applications we'll be learning. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with this. So if you think about the delegate, what are delegates? Delegates are type shape function pointers. Now, if you are little bit knowing of C language, you would have learned a concept called pointer, right? Like what is pointer? Just what you can say, simple review. We'll be taking it. Okay, so if you think about the pointer, what is pointer? How will you create a pointer for the variable? It's simple, like int, let's say number 1 equals to 10, and let's say I want to create a pointer for this. So how actually we are going to create a pointer for this? Definitely the type of the variable will be considered. So my pointer type will also be int. Okay, then we'll give the name of a pointer, and there is a separate identity given, I guess, for the pointer is asterisk, which is nothing but a dereferencing operator. Okay, so this is how we will create a pointer. Okay, now let's use this pointer. So why I'm creating this pointer? Because the role given for this pointer is to represent this value, which is pointed by number 1. So what PTR will do? PTR will store the address of number 1. That will be the role. So let's initialize or instantiate this PTR. So what we'll do? PTR equals to ampersand number 1, something like this. Okay, so this is called, let's say, instantiation or initialize pointer. Now this can be done in one step, you all are knowing, but still deliberately I'm doing this. So initialize pointer, then access this value using pointer. So how will you do that? We'll simply write printf, and maybe some message you will be giving %d and comma and something like star PTR. So this is what the use of pointer maybe. Okay, so I guess we learned this basic already related to pointers. Now definitely these pointers are available for functions also. So most of the times when we people learn the C language, I don't think so we people are learning function pointer, because it won't get covered in any what you can say basic syllabus. So that is the problem. So if you are thinking about the pointer, this is what we are knowing it. Okay, so why I'm going back? Because the pointer terms comes. Okay, so what are delegates? Delegate is a type shape function pointer. Now I already shown you pointer. Now what is function pointer? Okay, so the question will be raised, what is function pointer? So definitely a pointer which points to a function is a function pointer. Means what? Here my pointer PTR is pointing to variable. Okay, so it is a variable pointer. If you use same wordings, this PTR is a variable pointer. Okay, quite similar to this, there is a function pointer. Now, what do you mean by function pointer? A pointer which points to function. So the same concept is invented as it is inside C Sharp. And the name given for this is delegate. Okay, so delegates are the type-shape function pointers. Okay, what is the role of delegate? The role of delegate is to, if you think about again function pointer, what is the role of function pointer? Function pointer point to a function. What is the advantage of that? With the help of function pointer, we'll be able to call a function, right? Which function? The function whose address function pointer is storing. The same thing we can do with delegate. So what is the role of delegate? Delegate will point to the method. So let's say I written a method in a class and I want to represent that method with the help of delegate. So what I need to do? I need to tell delegate, please point to that method, please store the reference of that method, and accordingly, with the help of delegate, I am able to use that method. This is what the scenario. Okay. So this is first part. So what delegate is doing? Delegate is pointing to a method. So as usual, delegate comes under reference type category. Delegate comes under reference type category. Okay. So like if you remembered, we always creating the class in namespace scope. Quite similar to this, when I will create a delegate, what is the preferable place? The preferable place will be namespace scope because it is a reference type. So whose reference delegate is going to store? Method's reference. And why we are doing this? As I told you, there are some applications in our application. There are some applications for this, and those applications we are going to learn. Okay, so delegates are holding the reference of a method. This is first part. Now what is second part? And using late binding mechanism, delegates will attach call with a definition. This is important. Now already we learned late binding. If you remembered, at runtime, if the decision is taken about where to attach the call, then it is late binding. So if you think about the polymorphism, in polymorphism we implemented late binding or runtime binding. Okay, quite similar to this, delegates are also helps in binding. So delegate will attach the call with a definition using late binding techniques. So the question will be raised, how? So that we'll be learning ahead. Okay, so we'll be thinking about the first part right now. Whatever the application written I here, like it is doing late binding and all that, that we'll be learning later. So first, let's consider the first part. What is the first part? Delegates are pointing to the method. Or in other words, delegate is storing the reference for a method. So our first discussion will be how this will be implemented, how this will be done, the basic, and then we'll go to actual application. Okay, so again, as I told you, if you are from C background and if you know function pointer, then I don't think so you will need to learn anything, because it is copy pasted in C#. The only thing is a little bit syntax gets changed. Okay. Now, for simplicity, what I will do is, let's do this with C first, and then we'll go for C#. I know this is not the proper way of what you can say explaining, but still, since this concept comes from C language, let's understand this first, and then we'll go for delegate. So definitely we'll be remembering only delegate. I don't think so we require any function pointer and all this stuff. But still, since it comes from function pointers, since it comes from C, We'll just simply understand how actually it is done in C. Okay. So what I will be doing here is I will be simply considering function pointer first up. So let's watch this out. So as usual, you all are knowing in C, we always keep on creating the function first. There are 3 steps for function: function declaration, function call, and function definition. All right. So how will you do this? Like here, let's say my function return type is integer. Okay. Let's take any method out here. For example, any method, or let's write something like do operation. This will be the name of a function, and it will take 2 arguments, like here int x comma int y, something like this. So this is my declaration. Okay, if you are declaring, even if you are not writing the variable names, then also it will be allowed. Then so this is declaration. See, I'm just clearing the background of the function, and then we'll go for function pointer. Then in main, we'll start calling this, right? Like how will you call? Do operations in bracket, we'll write 10 comma 20, something like this. Okay, whatever the value this function is going to return, I will take that in resultant, the basic, and then we'll write printf is like resultant, something like this. Okay, so this is call. So function is declared, we made a call, and now let's define the function. So how will you define it? Int number 1, number 2, and let's do some operation out here. For example, what I will do, return number 1 into number 1, first part, plus number 2 into number 2. Okay, so this is what I want to return. Fair enough. So this is my definition. Okay, so I created one function out here. Now let's prepare a pointer for this. Now if you think on left hand side, how we created a pointer here. For variable, what is important? It's data type, and on the basis of data type, we prepared a pointer. Now, if you think about function, what is important for the function? For function, 2 things are important: return type and signature. Return type and signature. So let's create a function pointer for this. So how I am going to create a function pointer? Somewhere here I will be creating, let's say. Okay, so how this function pointer will be? I will write return type as it is, which is integer. Then I will write signature as it is, which is int comma int, and then I'll start preparing pointer. I will write star ptr. So here ptr is a function pointer. So this is step number 1, create pointer. Okay, so if you think about this, I don't think so any what you can say knowledge is required for you about the pointer. What is the simple part here? I return signature as it is. Okay, I return type as it is, and simply I given the name. Now you people will be asking me like why these brackets are given. As you all are knowing, here if I'm not giving the bracket for the variable, the type becomes int star. So I don't want this star to be attached with data type. I want this star to be with PTR only. That's why I just put that in a bracket. Okay, so we created a pointer. Now what is the next part? The next part would be the next part would be, so right now let's say I don't want this. I'm doing this with a pointer, let's. Okay. What is the next part? Initialize this pointer. So what is my role of PTR? The role of PTR is to store the address of do operation. Now, if we are in C, you can directly use ampersand here, right? So what we'll do, PTR equals to ampersand do operation. See, this is straightforward. Okay, so this is initialization of the pointer. Okay, and then we'll start using this pointer. So how we are going to use this pointer? Definitely we'll call a function using pointer. How we are going to make a call? Like here, star PTR in bracket. Let's pass on some values like here 10, 20, and we will simply take this in resultant. Okay, so what I done here, I just call this function using PTR, and now I am able to display the answer. So this is use of pointer. These three simple steps are there. Watch out. First, you will prepare the function pointer. Second, you will initialize this function pointer. And third, use the function pointer to call a function. Okay, so this is how we are doing in C. Now, do remember, we are in C sharp, and in C sharp, I don't think so this base concept gets changed. The concept remains as it is. So what gets changed? The syntax. Okay, so delegates are type safe function pointers compulsorily. So I shown you a basic of function pointer here. You can watch this out, and on the basis of this, we'll start creating the same thing with delegate. Okay, so is this clear? Yes. Hello. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So do remember, I'm already knowing like we don't have any requirement of this. See, as a developer, I will just think about the event, how actually event will be handled with the help of delegate. That is what my need is, right? Because I am requiring only that much knowledge of delegate, but still, since we are taking it, why not taking it from the basic? This is what my motto. Definitely, if uh, you already know this, you may get the revision. If you are not knowing this, definitely it will be a new thing for you to see. So I don't think so. We are in C language and we are learning this, but still, from where this concept is originating? This concept is originating from C. The function pointer concept is present in C, and the same concept is copy pasted by both Java and C sharp. So right now we are in C sharp. So let's have a discussion with C sharp. Okay. So let's understand these steps now in C sharp. Okay. So how will you do this in C sharp? Let's watch. So what I will do is I will write some steps out here for C sharp by comparing this one. Okay. So how it will be? Let's watch. Okay. So what is the first need? We should have a method, right? So let's say I got class, let's say delegate class. In this class, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write one method. Okay. Let's consider same method for the time being. So what I will do, public int do operation. Okay. It will take two arguments like number1, comma number2. Unfortunately, I can't do copy paste here. I can do, but it will take time. Okay. And then simply do return. So return number1 into number2, sorry, number1 plus number2 into number2. Like this. That's it. So this is my method. And for this method, I want to create a delegate. Okay. So let's say I got here a namespace scope. For example, namespace delegate demo. And in this namespace scope, I'm taking this class. Okay. So what is the first step? What are those three steps we saw in C? Create pointer, initialize pointer, and use that pointer. Quite similar to this. First step, create delegate. Now, how you are going to create a delegate? See the concept. For a function, what is important? For function, return type is important. For function, signature is important. So when I will create a delegate, definitely I will keep this in mind. Now in C# level, I don't think so we'll be able to use this star. Instead, they introduced a keyword called delegate. Okay, and since delegate is a reference type, we will be creating the delegate in namespace scope. So let's follow step number 1, create a delegate for this method. How will you create a delegate for this method? Let's see. So as usual, first I will write that keyword delegate. See the syntax. First we'll be writing delegate keyword, then we'll write return type as it is, which is integer. Then we'll write signature as it is, which is this one, and then we'll give the name to the delegate. Okay, whatever the name you want to give. For example, I will give as do operations delegate. Do operations delegate. So this is step number 1. Okay. So like I told you, when you write a method, for method what is important? For method return type is important. For method signature is important. So when you create a delegate for the method, you will write return type as it is. You will write signature as it is. So what are the two things remaining now? This keyword delegate and the name of the delegate, which you can give any name, any unique name which you would like to give. Okay, so this is step number 1 for me, creation of delegate, or simply create delegate. Like creation of pointer. Now what is the next step? Next step is initialize this delegate. Means what? In our terms, it will be instantiation of delegate. Okay, Now you all are knowing when you want to perform any operations, you will have a separate class called program class. So let's take that class. For example, class program, and inside program class will follow these two steps which are remaining. So what is the second step? Instantiation of delegate. Now, when you are doing instantiation, what you need to tell? You need to tell for which method this delegate will be working. So right now, if I'm thinking about my delegate, do operations delegate, this delegate will be working for method do operations. Means in simple words, what I need to tell is do operations reference will be stored by your do operations delegate. Like here we are saying PTR is storing the base address of do operation. PTR is storing the base address of do operation. Similar to this, do operations delegate will store the reference of do operations. Okay, so let's introduce here main method firstly, like public static void main. Okay, and then let's introduce these curly brackets. Okay, and inside this we'll start writing the remaining two steps now. What are those two steps? As I told you, instantiation of delegate. So what I will do now, I will create the reference of this delegate. What is the name? See, do operations delegate. Let's create a reference. Do or maybe I will simply write delegate 1. It is a reference. And this reference will be pointing to where? To this method. Like this line we are doing. PTR equal to ampersand do operations. The same line we are writing in C#. So if I want to access do operations, what I require? I require a class reference of this class, which is a delegate class. So first, let's go ahead and create this reference. So what we'll do? Delegate class delegate class reference equals to new delegate class. Okay, so we prepared a reference, and now using this reference we'll access the method. Okay, so what I'll be doing? Equal to delegate class reference dot do operation. That's it. So to see this more, let's keep it here. Now you can watch out. Inside class program, there is a main method, and what we done here is we prepared the reference of this class, and using delegate reference, we are storing the reference of do operations method into delegate. So this is my step number 2, which is instantiate delegate. Compare. I don't think so I made any change in this. If you compare it with C. So if you compare over here, what we are doing, we are storing the address of a function into pointer. The same thing I'm doing. I'm storing the reference of a method into delegate reference. That's it. Now, what is the third part? I'm able to call the method using delegate reference. So how I'm going to do this now? how I'm going to do this now. Let's take here reference, which is delegate 1, and simply in brackets I will pass the values like 10, 20. Since it is returning the value, we'll take that in resultant, and then we'll be able to display the result by saying console.writeLine the result. Compare now. This is step number 3. Use delegate to call a method. So there are 3 steps. Yes, what are those 3 steps? First, we'll create a delegate. Then next, instantiate the delegate. And third, use that delegate. Quite similar to C. In C, first you will create a pointer. Then you will store the address of a pointer, address of a method into pointer. And then third, you will use that pointer to call a method. The same thing I done here. Okay, so what is gets changed here? The syntax. Now let's do one thing. We will do this in Visual Studio so that the idea will be clear. Okay, so let's go ahead and open Visual Studio application. Like here, I will take one console application. Let's say it is demo 17. Already I got a program class here. Let's take one more class. And what is the name of a class? Delegate demo. The same name I'm following. Okay, this class is containing one method. So let's introduce that method. Public int do operations. Okay, we got 2 arguments here, number 1 and number 2, and simply will return some value from here, like return number 1 into number 1 plus number 2 into number 2. This is what the operation I've done there. So I'm keeping it same. Okay. And in program class now, if I create the instance of this, like delegate demo, let's say delegate delegate demo reference equals to new delegate demo, and now let's start calling it. Firstly, we'll test the method and then we'll go for delegate. Okay, so let's go ahead and test the method. Console.writeLine result is specify the call. So delegate demo reference dot, it is showing do operations, and let's pass on to integer values like here 10 and 20. Or okay, let it be. I'm not interested in answer anyway. So let's run it. Watch out whether it is working or not. So the answer will be 500 as usual. Like square of 10 is 100, square of 20 is 400, so answer is 500, no problem. So it is working. Now let's go back and do this with delegate. Okay, so what is the first step? Create a delegate. Now again, like I told you, think about the return type of a method, think about the signature of a method. The same thing we are going to use when we create the delegate. So what are the steps? First, you will use delegate keyword. First, you will use delegate keyword, then return type for the method as it is, signature of the method as it is, and then we'll give the unique name for this. Okay, for example, do operations delegate. That's it. This is step number one. Mic, mic off कर दो. So this is step number one, and the step is create delegate. So we created the delegate, and definitely this delegate will be working for do operations method. Why so? Because when I constructed the delegate, I given the same return type and same signature. Okay, so we prepared a delegate. Now, as I told you already, delegate is a reference type. So when you create any reference type, please try to create it in namespace scope. This is what the suggestion. That's why. But you may create this delegate inside a class if you want that in that scope. But what is the preferable place? Namespace scope. Okay. So the first step is over. Now let's go for step number two. What is step number two? We will instantiate that delegate. So do operations delegate. Let's create a reference. Delegate 1 equals to. Now what I want to store in this method. Which method? This method, do operations. So how I am going to access this method in main method using this reference. So let's create a step. So delegate demo reference dot do operations. That's it. So step 2. Instantiate delegate. And then we'll call this method do operations using this reference tel1. So let's go ahead and start calling it. So result is same. So result is delegate 1, which is a reference, and using this we'll start calling it. Okay, this is step 3, use of delegate. Right now my need is to just call a method. That's why I'm writing this third step. Let's run. See, again I'm getting 500. Okay, so these are the 3 steps you need to follow. What are those 3 steps? First, you will create a delegate. I repeat, when you create a delegate, the return type and signature of the method need to be similar. The return type and signature of a delegate need to be similar, like your method. So right now my method is do operation and the return type is integer. And if you think about the signature, it is taking 2 integer arguments. So when I prepared this delegate, do operations delegate, I given the return type as integer, and I, as a signature, I am taking 2 integer arguments. Now here, as you all are knowing, when you do the declaration, even if you are giving different names, then also it is allowed. Like here, if I'm writing X and Y, then also it will be allowed, because whenever we will do the declaration, what is considered, these data types will be considered, the signature will be considered. Okay, so even if I'm running this, it will give me the same answer, right? So if we creation of delegate, these are the steps. Now let's go ahead and go for step number 2, which is instantiate this delegate. So why we are using this delegate? Why we are creating this delegate? Just a minute. So why we are using this delegate? Because I want to represent this do operations method using this delegate. This is what the need. That's why I created the delegate. So what will be the step number 2? Step number 2 will be instantiate this delegate. Means what actually we are going to do, the reference of this method will be stored in this delegate reference. So that is what step number 2 we followed. So I created a reference and do operations reference gets stored inside this delegate 1. And this is step 2. And the last, you can call this method do operation using delegate reference. And this is how it is working. Okay. So what are the 3 steps in case of delegate? First, you will create the delegate. Then you will instantiate the delegate. And last, you will use that delegate for calling a method. These are the steps. Okay. So are you getting this?
Sir, I have one doubt.
Yes, please.
If number of methods get changed, like I have write one more method with same data type and with same number of parameters and with same data type of parameters.
With same return type and with same signature, you meant to
Yeah,
say, I guess.
yeah.
Yes.
Then I need to create another delegate, or the same delegate will work for both
Yes,
methods.
yes. I'm coming on that point. Just a minute. This much is clear. Are you getting this?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as we discussed here, in C, if you remembered, here I took the variable number 1 and its value is 10 right now. So what I'm doing here, or let's do one thing, I'm just erasing it. Okay. The same principle we are going to extend. Just watch out. See, let's say I got variable number 1, its value is 10. I prepared a pointer like, let's say, int star ptr equals to maybe will initialize later ptr equal to ampersand number 1, and then I'd done some logic here related to pointer, and after some time I realized I got one more integer variable here. For example, number 2 equals to 20. Okay, now can I use this same ptr with number 2? Yes. Why? Because the type of number 2 is integer and the type of my pointer is also int. So I can simply write ptr equals to ampersand number 2. Now, if I write some logic with ptr, then this logic will be for which variable? Number 2. Initially, we return it for number 1, but now it is changed. Initially, your ptr is pointing to number 1. So whatever the logic we written here is for number 1. But now the criteria is changed. The logic of number 1 gets over. I got one more variable number 2. So I will simply use the same pointer for number 2. And this is straightforward, right? Okay, quite similar to this over here also. Now I will just keep that function pointer part. Just think about delegate now. Over here, let's say I got one more method. Okay. For example, I got here one more method called add, and it is taking two arguments, let's say number 1 comma number 2. Okay, and what I will do, return x plus y. Simple. Sorry, number 1 plus number 2. I'm sorry. That's it. Now, if you think about add, what is the return type of add? Integer. How many arguments this add is taking? Obviously, 2 arguments, and these are of type integer. So, is there any need for me to create a separate delegate for this? No, because already I created a delegate who will point to a method whose return type is integer, and in signature it is taking 2 integer arguments. Right? So, may I use the same delegate? Yes. So see, the same principle we extended here. I don't think so. Is there any change happened here? Right? So the same principle of a pointer gets followed here also. So now what I will do, I will create another reference, or I will simply use the same reference. No problem. What I will do, delegate 1. Now it is not required for me to declare it because it is already declared. So delegate 1 equal to delegate demo reference dot this time add. So now if I use this same reference, delegate 1, for which method this will be working? Add. Initially, when I prepared this delegate 1, it was working for which method? Do operations. Right? So now, if I print the result, definitely I will get addition result, which you can watch out. See. So if I run this, see 30. So I pass 10 and 20. 10 plus 20 is 30. It is calling add. So if your method return type and signature is matching with this delegate will be applicable for n number of methods. Okay. So are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Now, let's move ahead and see some basic of a delegate. Before that, let's watch out this. What I said here, we can pass delegate as a parameter to a method. This is most important. Okay, this is one of the plus point of delegate. Like I can pass delegate as a parameter. Means it is somewhat similar to I can pass one method as a parameter to another method as an argument. Right? So this is possible with the help of delegate. And definitely in case of different applications like a callback mechanism, this is very, very useful. So we'll see how it is helpful in case of callback mechanism later. But before that, we need to think about the basic firstly. So in C# 1.0, this thing gets introduced. Do remember. So whatever the thing I'm showing right now, this thing gets introduced in C# 1.0. Okay, and we'll be discussing this now. So there are two types of delegates available. So as I told you, we are discussing C# 1.0 right now. So there are two types of delegates available: unicast delegate and multicast delegate. Now what is unicast delegate? So right now, whatever the delegate I created, which is do operations delegate, this delegate is a unicast delegate. Now, why it is unicast delegate? Because at a time, this particular delegate is able to point to a single method. Like here, it is pointing to do operations, and after some time, it is pointing to add. So at a time, how many methods I'm storing in delegate reference? Only one. That's why this do operations delegate is a unicast delegate. Okay, and what is multicast delegate now? As the name suggests, multicast delegate will point to the multiple methods. That is what we are going to see now. Okay, but before that, you can see the steps. Okay, so I guess we already what you can say saw these steps. You may check out the steps of delegate. Okay, so to use delegate, there are three steps. What are those? First, create a delegate. Okay, so when you create a delegate, you may use modifier if you want. For some cases, I guess people are using here public. Okay, by default it is internal. You all are knowing it. Okay, so first you will give modifier, then delegate keyword, return type of a method, then delegate name, and as usual signature. So we followed this step already, right? Then at the time of instantiation, either you will do like this or you will do like this. Okay, so let's do one more thing. What I will do, I will tell you the another way as well here for instantiation and invoking. So I'll simply do comment here. As per C# 1.0, this is one of the way available which is there with us, which we saw already. There is one more way available, like you will what you can say properly create the object of that delegate, and as a parameter, as a target, you will be passing the method. Like how will you do that? See, do operations delegate. Let's create a reference delegate 1 equals to delegate demo reference, sorry, equals to new do operations delegate, and in bracket you can watch out what target he is expecting. The target he is expecting is return type integer and two integer arguments as a signature. So we got two methods for this, add and do operations. So you can watch out how you are going to pass on this. So delegate demo reference dot, both methods are available. You may use any one of them, like do operations. This is also allowed. So either you will do like this or you will do like this. It's up to you. Okay. But when they introduce delegate, follow this step. Okay. And now you may call and do something like this. Okay. So either you will call directly like this, or some people will introduce here invoke method like dot invoke. Okay. So if you use invoke method, what does it mean? Invoke will invoke the respective method, which is do op. This invoke method is coming from built-in delegate class. Okay, so there is a built-in delegate class available. You can watch this out here. If I go to definition, so see here, you can watch out all those methods which are present, which you can see. Okay, so we'll be using this method. Where it's gone? See, get invocation list in case of multicast delegate. There is dynamic invoke also available, which is doing the same job, but we'll use get invocation list ahead. Okay, so either you will call it directly or you will use invoke. It's up to you. So these are the alterations given for the same thing. Okay. Somewhere here it comes. That's why I shown this. Okay. So when you are instantiate the delegate, either you will instantiate like this, or you will instantiate let me change here also. You will instantiate like this. So what you will do, delegate then delegate reference okay equals to object reference okay dot method name. That's it. This is also allowed. Okay, so I will write or in between. Okay, fair enough. Let's do it again now. See. Okay, so either you will follow this step or you will follow this step. It's up to you. Okay, and then third, invoke the method using delegate. Either you will use invoke or you can directly call it. It's up to you. So these are the three steps available for delegate. Now there are two categories, unicast delegate and multicast delegate. So what is unicast delegate? A delegate which points to only one method at a time. So right now, whatever the demonstration I give, this is a unicast delegate demonstration. Okay, so my do operations delegate at a time either pointing to do operations or pointing to add. This is unicast. And what is multicast then? Multicast delegate is a delegate which points to more than one method at a time. Means what? Single delegate reference will hold the references of multiple methods. Let's understand this thing. So let's go ahead and see the multicast delegate demo. So what I will do is I'll prepare a new solution better. Okay, so got unicast delegate, everybody? Yes? Are you getting unicast delegate?
Yes.
Sure. Okay. Now let's prepare one console application. I will name it, let's say, multicast demo. Multicast demo. Enter. Okay. Now in multicast, again we'll take a class here. Let's name it as multicast delegate demo. Okay. Let's prepare multiple methods. Now, do remember here, when you create a delegate reference, which will point to multiple methods, compulsorily, the return type of each method and signature of each method need to be matched with a delegate. First point. See, let me show you. In multicast delegate. First point is return type and signature. Each method need to be matched with delegate. What does it mean? Let's say I got three methods: method A, method B, method C. Okay, like here, for example, I'm writing a method public int A. Some signature will be passing, let's say int X. Some logic I will be writing here. Okay. And we'll write multiple methods like this. So let's say I got three of them. So I got A, I got B, I got C. Okay. Now, if you think about the return type of A, return type of B, and return type of C are matching. Then the signature of A, signature of B, and signature of C is also matching. So if I create a single delegate int multicast delegate, okay, this delegate will be able to point to all these three methods, like method A, method B, and method C. This is the first point. Okay, so the signature and return type of each method need to be matched with delegate's signature and return type. Number one. Now, number two is very important. What is number two? In number two now into picture. What is number two? The type, the return type of each method and delegate need to be void. Means whatever the demonstration I done before, this demonstration is not correct. Why so? Because here I taken integer as a return type. What is the rule? The rule is a return type need to be void. So the question will be raised, why so? Okay, so we'll definitely find the answer of this. Before that, let's keep the return type as void first and understand the syntax, and then we'll go for this question, why a return type needed to be void. Okay, so let's go ahead and prepare multiple methods here. Okay, so I will write multiple methods here first up, like public void, let's say get square, okay, int number, and we'll simply display the square. So what will write? Square is number into number. That's it. Is it? No. Cannot convert lambda to object. So it is giving some problem. Okay. Let's do one thing. Integer result. This will work definitely, but right now I don't have a time to sort out. So integer is result equal to number into number, and here I will write result. Okay. So I got first method get square. Quite similar to this, I will write multiple methods, like here I will write get cube. Okay, and this time I will do cube like this. So cube is this one, and last simply I will write one more method by saying get value. This time I will not do anything. Okay, so simply I will write here value is number. That's it. So I got three methods lined up. What are those? Get square, get cube, and get value. Now if you check out the return type, currently deliberately I kept it as a void. As a signature, all these three methods are taking integer argument. Okay, now let's prepare the delegate. Now again, same steps you are going to follow. First, you will write a delegate, then you will write the return type as it is, which is void. Then you will write the signature as it is, which is integer number, and then we'll write a unique name. Like here, I'll write multicast delegate, simple name, multicast delegate. Okay. So I've prepared a delegate. So this is our step number 1, create delegate. Okay. And then we'll start following the next steps. Now, what is the criteria for multicast delegate? Using single delegate reference, we'll be able to store the multiple methods. How to do that? Let's watch. So first, we will, or let's do one thing. I will keep this getCube method as static, because what I want to prove here, you may store static methods as well in delegate. Okay, so let's go ahead and prepare the reference for the class first up, like multicast delegate demo. Multicast. The problem, I just some spelling mistake I done. Multicast delegate demo. Let's prepare a reference. Multicast delegate demo. Reference equals to new multicast delegate demo. That's it. So I prepared an object reference of this class. Similar to this, we'll prepare the reference for delegate now. And one by one, I will start adding the methods. So first, I will add the method get value. Okay, so let's prepare the reference first up. Multicast delegate. Let's prepare the reference, for example, delegate equals to first which method we are going to store get value. Now, if you check this get value method, it is a instance method. Means if I want to access this method, I require the object reference. So let's use object reference dot get value. That's it. So first method is added, and this is the first step. Now what is next step? I want to add getCube as well as getSquare method. Now if you think about getSquare is again an instance method. And what is the requirement? I want to add this in same delegate reference. Okay, so what I will do, delegate reference plus equal to, this is the syntax, plus equal to means I'm adding it multicast delegate demo reference dot get square. So now this delegate reference is pointing to two methods, get value and get square. We got one more method, like delegate plus equal to get cube. Now, if you think about get cube is a static method. So to access get cube, I will require a class name. So multicast delegate demo is my class name dot get cube. So how many methods we added in this reference? 3. Get value, get square, and get cube. Okay. So what is the advantage for me now? I can invoke all 3 methods with single call. Okay. So how it will be? Result if I'm giving a common message, and what we'll be doing? We'll be calling this with single delegate reference. So let's pass on 10. Timing. Okay. Sorry, it is not returning any value, so console will not come. I'm really sorry. Simply like this, or you may use that in Hook if you want. Okay. So with this single call, all 3 methods will be invoked. Now the question will be raised, what will be the sequence? So obviously, first get value will be invoked. Why so? Because it is added first. Then get square will be invoked next, and lastly get cube. Okay, so let's do a breakpoint here. First, second, third. Okay. Okay. Now let's start executing it. See, the control is on this line, invoke line. So I will press F11 to check on which method it is going first. So it is going on get value. You can watch out. The control comes here in get value. So first it will execute get value. Then it is going in get square. Watch out. It will execute get square first up. And then finally it is going in get cube. Okay. And you will get answer. Right. See, the answer has come already. 3 answers, in fact. The answer of get value, the answer of square, and the answer of cube. Okay. So let's run it now once again. So I will just remove the breakpoints. So the point here is in which sequence these methods will be invoked, in the same sequence. Okay. Like here, get value is added first, so get value will be executing first. Get square added second, so get square will be added next. That is on number 2. And lastly, on number 3, get cube is added. So lastly, get cube will be executed. Okay, so if I run this, I'll be getting here 10, 100, and 1000. So 10 is the original value, the square is 100, and the cube is 1000. Fair enough. So are you getting this? Yes. This is how you will write the multicast delegate. Okay. Now let's give the different return type here. For example, I will just change the return type. So here I will give return type as integer, and the same return type we need to keep for all methods. Okay, so simply here I will be writing a return number into number, or we'll keep this text and we'll return the result. That's it. Okay. So now this delegate multicast delegate is applicable for all three methods, since for each method the return type kept is integer. Okay. We added the methods. Now it is returning value. I knew it already, so I will check that value in resultant and let's try to print it. So what will happen here, when the methods get invoked, then let's say first method is executing get value has returned value 10. So 10 value is stored in resultant. Then secondly, it will go to get square. The square get computed 100. So what he done, what he will be doing, he will be overwriting the value now. So the initial value of resultant was 10, now it will be 100. And quite similar to this, get cube will get executed and 100 will be replaced, and what I will be getting here, 1000. Let's watch out. See, I'm getting only one value, but in reality, how many methods I added? Three methods. So how many results I'm expecting? Three results I'm expecting. So this is what the problem, and this is what the answer of this, which you can give. Okay, so the return type of each method and delegate need to be void. So why it is so? Because if you give any other return type, then you will be getting the result of last method only. You are not able to get the results of previous methods. Why so? Those results will be overwritten. That's why if you keep the return type as void, you'll be able to get the result of all the methods. This is what the scenario. Okay, is this okay? Yes.
Yes, sir.
So now there is one more way available to do this, and that way is, as I shown you already, use of get invocation list method. So if I take built-in delegate class here, and if I go to definition, here I'll be getting method called get invocation list, and this method I'm going to use now. Okay. Let's use it. So what I will do, I will simply, I'm sorry, there was a phone call came in between. Okay. So when I'm considering get invocation list method, what get invocation list method is doing here, get invocation list method is also providing the facility to call multiple methods with a single delegate reference. Okay, so currently my delegate reference is this one, tell. Let's call get invocation list method with this. So get invocation list, you can watch out. This method is returning array. And what is the type of array? Delegate array. So let's store this in delegate array. Okay. So let's name it as delegate ARR. Okay. Now let's go ahead and try to access each method using this array. Think about our method. What is the type for our method? This one, multicast delegate. Why so? Because right now this delegate reference is pointing to all the methods. Okay. So what is the type of del? It is multicast delegate. This is the type. So if I want to access a method, how the for each will be? The type is multicast see small I written, I guess. Multicast delegate is the type. Spelling mistake, so copy paste it. So this will be the type for each method. And what is the collection right now? Delegate ARR. Okay. Okay, so now let's go ahead and call the method. How will you do this? Atom. So what atom represents each method, and what is the type for each method? This multicast delegate. And currently all methods are present in which collection? Delegate ARR. So atom in bracket, let's pass on the value 10, and if you run this, you'll be getting the answer. Sorry, I changed the return types, so again I need to keep that void. Let's make a change within 2 minutes. So here, do remember, compulsorily your return type need to be void. Okay, otherwise it won't work. Okay, so now let's run it again. See, now I'm getting the answer. Value is 10, square is 100, cube is 1000. Okay, this is another way of doing it. Okay, now there will be one more problem comes here. Watch out the problem. Let me create the problem. See, if I want to display this using for loop, how it will be? For each, for int I equals to 0, I less than delegate ARR dot length. And now try to call method using this. Delegate ARR of I, and in bracket I will be writing 10. Will this be possible? No. Why so? See, I'm getting error. And what it is asking me, please write method name. Now what is the problem here? The problem is the type of this array is delegate array. And in reality, if we consider the type of each method is this one, which is multicast delegate. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to typecast this delegate array into my type, and then only this will be possible. So what I will do is I will typecast my array and then this error will go. Watch out. So if you build this and run it, you'll be getting the answer. Okay, so this is all about get invocation list. So get invocation list is the another way available to invoke the multiple methods pointed by single delegate reference. Okay. In between, you are allowed to remove the methods from the list as well. So how you are going to remove it? Watch. So right now, how many methods are added here? 3 methods are added. Let's say I don't want get square. So I can directly remove this. So right now, if I run this, what is the problem now? Void to int. It is not returning value. I'm sorry. Once again, same mistake made. Okay. See, I'm getting the answer. No problem. Now, after some time, I realized, yes, I worked with 3 methods. I want to remove any one of the methods. So this also will be possible. So how it will be? You will use minus equal to in that case. So delegate minus equal to, let's remove square. Okay. And now if I invoke, how many methods will be invoked? Only 2, because we removed one of the methods. Let's watch. See, initially I'm getting 3 answers, but now I'm getting 2 answers only because I removed square. So, like adding, you are allowed to remove the method from the list as well. This is what the point I want to show you. Okay, so this is all about multicast delegate. So, is it clear? Yes.
Yes.
Now, let's go ahead and see the next part. Okay. So for multicast delegate, what we saw, multicast delegate is a delegate which points to more than one method at a time. We saw our delegate was pointed by, was pointing to get value, get square, and get cube method. For multicast delegate, it is compulsory that the type of each method in the list of all those methods which are pointed by delegate needed to be void. Otherwise, only last method result will be getting. As I shown already with proof, we saw this. To invoke those multiple methods pointed by multicast delegate, get invocation list an option which I shown already. Okay, so let's go ahead and other part now. So now in C Sharp 2.0, so we were in C Sharp 1.0 only till this point. In C Sharp 1.0, there are 2 categories created, and unicast delegate and multicast delegate. Okay, now let's see what is anonymous method. So let's watch out. Let me create one demo for this. Okay, so file, new project, let's say demo 18. Okay, let's create one class again. Anonymous method demo. Okay, let's prepare one method in this. I will write any method, for example, public int add, let's say integer number 1, float number 2, and double number 3. Just for the change, I'm doing this. Let's keep the return type as double. So return number 1 plus number 2 plus number 3. That's it. So this is my method. Now, as for C Sharp 1.0, what we are doing firstly, we are creating delegate. So let's prepare the delegate, like delegate, return type as it is, double, signature as it is, like int x comma float y comma double z, and let's give some unique name here. Okay, add delegate. Okay, so we prepared a delegate. Now let's use this. First we'll do using C# 1.0, and then we'll convert that into anonymous method. Okay, so firstly, to access this add method, we require delegate, this class reference, and also we require a delegate reference to add a add method in it. So let's prepare the reference of class firstly. So anonymous method demo. So let's create a reference of this. Okay, equals to new anonymous method demo. We prepared a class reference. Now let's create the delegate reference here. Like here, what we'll do, add delegate is my delegate name. Let's prepare the reference. Let's say del equals to assign the method. What we'll do, anonymous method demo reference dot add. That's it. And now using this del, I'm able to call the method. So how I'm going to do it, this returns the value. I'm knowing it. Addition is. Okay. Values 10, 10.5 f, and maybe some double value like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, something like this. Okay, let's run. I'm getting the answer, no problem. So this is what we learned till this point. Okay, first create the delegate. We created the delegate. Second step, instantiate the delegate. We instantiated the delegate. And last step, invoke the delegate. Invoke the method using delegate. Okay, so we followed 3 steps. Now in C# 2.0, what they introduced, there is something called anonymous method. Now what is the advantage of using anonymous method? As the name suggests, anonymous method option is used to call a or what you can say, instead of calling named method, directly the body of the method will be attached with delegate reference. Let me write it here, what I mean to say. In anonymous method, instead of calling named method means what? Right now we return a method called add, and add is the name of that method. So instead of calling that named method directly, body of method will be attached with delegate reference using delegate keyword. Okay, so instead of calling named method directly, the body of a method will be attached with a delegate reference using delegate keyword. That's why the name given is anonymous. Anonymous means there is no name for the method which you are calling it. So instead of calling the method with name, directly the body of the method. Body means definition. So directly definition of the method will be attached with a delegate reference using delegate keyword. This is what anonymous method is. And this anonymous method feature is introduced in C# 2.0. Okay, so how to do this now? Let's watch out. So I'm not going to follow this now. Instead, what I will do, as I told you already, instead of calling named method, directly I will be adding the method definition with delegate reference. So first, let's prepare the delegate reference. My delegate name is add delegate. Let's prepare the reference del. And what we are going to attach with this body means this one. And for this, we'll be using what? Delegate keyword. So how you will be using it? See, let's use delegate keyword. And then we'll be specify the signature. So what will be the signature? Int x, float y, and double z, let's say. Then we'll simply attach this. Okay. So what I'll be saying, return x plus y plus z. Watch this out. See, directly the definition of method is taken, which is this one, and I'm attaching this definition with delegate reference. Now, as you all are knowing, method requires signature. So using delegate keyword, we are giving that signature. Are we giving the return type here? No, because whenever I will create a delegate, I will specify there a return type. So return type will not be considered. Okay. In this syntax, we are not going to give the return type. What we are giving is method body and signature. So to give signature, delegate keyword is used, and directly we will attach the body. So now again, if I print the answer, I will get same answer. Watch out. See, it is showing same. Okay. So these two things are important: the delegate keyword, and directly you will be attaching the signature. Okay. So let's watch this out. So in anonymous method, instead of calling named method through delegate, directly the block of code will be invoked using delegate reference. Okay, so here we directly added block of code, right? Means the definition or the body get attached directly, like I said already. Okay, this is what the principle. This anonymous method option is preferred when the length of the code is smaller. This is most important. Like let's say in my method, there are 50 to 60 lines of code. Then anonymous method is not the best option to go for. In that case, definitely you will go for the first option, which is delegate, which is followed in C# 1.0. But if your method is smaller, then definitely this will be the helpful solution. So using delegate keyword, anonymous methods are defined. So if you want to define a method, you will use delegate keyword, like I said here. Okay. And we can pass anonymous method as a parameter to another method, that we'll see ahead. But this is possible. Okay, we can pass anonymous method as a parameter to another method. This is possible. I told you already, the advantage of delegate was you can pass one method as a parameter to another method. Similar to this, you can pass anonymous method as a parameter to another method. And this is totally possible. How? Using this del you can pass on. Right? Like here, if I'm writing one method in the class, let's say xyz, some method. Through this method, I can directly pass this del. So when I will invoke that, which method will be invoked? This one, the code which I'm writing here. So that we'll see ahead. Right now, our motto is to see the syntax of anonymous method. Okay. So yes, what is anonymous method? Anonymous method is a method which will invoke method definition directly, which will invoke method body directly. Okay, so instead of writing the name of a method and invoke it directly, one shortcut is provided. Directly provide the definition and attach that definition with delegate reference. And using anonymous method, this thing is possible. So is it okay? Got anonymous method? Yes.
Yes.
Now in C# 3.0, again revolution is going on, and in C# 3.0 they started with a new concept called lambda expression. Okay, so now what are lambda expressions? That is what we are going to see. So again, there is a short form given for anonymous method, which is lambda expression. Okay, now where the lambda expressions are mostly used, obviously right now we'll be using it in delegate. Apart from this, where the lambda expressions are mostly used, lambda expressions are mostly used in case of link queries to call link extension methods. I guess we already discussed about extension methods. So in link, we'll be getting built-in extension methods. Okay, and obviously to invoke those built-in extension methods, we will be using lambda expression. So this is one of the application of lambda expression. There we'll be using lambda expressions more. Okay, apart from this. Okay, so right now we'll be learning how to use lambda expression to invoke a method using delegate. Okay. Another application of lambda expression is it is used in case of what you can say expression trees. So you'll be able to create an expression tree for given what you can say expression, and I guess in data structure you learned this postfix, prefix, and all that. So if you want to create an expression tree, then also expression tree will be created using lambda expression. So this is another application of lambda expression. Okay, but right now which application we are learning with lambda expression? How to invoke a method using delegate, and for that purpose we'll be using lambda expression. Now when you write the lambda expression, it has totally three parts. What are those three parts? Let's watch out those three parts. Okay, when we write the lambda expression, For lambda expression, there are three parts. What are those? The first part is parameters. The second part is goes to operator, or it is also called as lambda operator. And the last one will be expression or statements. We're going to write it. So these three parts will be there for lambda expression. What are those? Parameters, goes to operator, and statements. How it will be? Let's say I'm writing parameters here. For example, I'm writing a parameter x comma y. Then I will use goes to operator. Now, how the goes to operator is represented? See, like this. This is goes to operator. So equal to sign and greater than sign. If you combine those two together, it forms goes to operator. Okay. And as a statement, what I'm writing, let's say return same thing like x into x plus y into y. This is valid lambda expression. Watch out. I covered three parts in this. What are those? First, parameters. Now, see, this is a short form actually. Okay. In reality, this is how we are writing. Correct. This is how we are giving parameters. But when we give the parameters in lambda expression, it is not required for us to give the data type. It will be identified automatically. Okay. So data type option is also ignored. So first you will give parameters or more specific parameter names. Then goes to operator will come, and then your statements will come. Okay, like here, if I write here x goes to maybe I will write here ternary operator like x what you can say mod 2 equals to 0 question mark true colon false. Fair enough. Okay, now in some cases, if parameters are not available, then in that case we'll give empty parentheses like this. Like what I will do, I won't require parameter for this. So I'll simply write empty parentheses in this case. Okay, so this is also a valid lambda expression. But if you see the format is same. First you need to give parameter list, then you need to specify goes to operator, and after that you will write your logic or the statements which represent the logic. Okay, this is how lambda expression can be written. Is it fine? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So this is what the basic of lambda expression. So there are total three parts. What are those? Either it is a parameter or parameters, or in case of no parameters, you will write empty parentheses as I told you. Then second, goes to operator. It is also called as lambda operator. And third, you will write the logic, the statements which contain the logic. So there are total three parts of lambda expression. Okay, so when we are using lambda expression in case of delegates, then also I will be following those three parts. What are those? First, I will give parameters, then I will use goes to, and then I will use statements or the logic. Okay. So you can check the example here. I given the example like my parameter is of type student. Now, even if I'm writing only S, then also it will be okay, no problem, because the type will be identified automatically. But still, initially, when we think about the method, always we need to give type. That's why I given here like student S goes to S dot first name equals to Steve. So I'm just doing the comparison whether first name is Steve or not for the object. Okay. Or as I shown, now here I have not mentioned the types, then also it will be valid. Okay. And what are the applications? Like I told you, in link queries we'll be using this right now. There are many applications of lambda expressions, but in C#, it is mostly used in case of link queries to call the extension methods. So we'll see how to call those extension methods in link ahead. And then second use I told you, if you want to create the expression tree, then you will go for lambda expression. Okay, like postfix, prefix, you learned it in data structure, quite similar to that. Okay. So I guess we'll take the example tomorrow. That will be better because it's already 10 o'clock. Okay. So are you getting lambda expressions? Yes. Hello.
Yes, sir.
So we'll be seeing the example tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead. I'm disconnecting the call. If you have any difficulties, please feel free to ask.
Okay, sir. Bye.